Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today I wanted to do another Turner syndrome video. Talking about being your own advocate. So one of the elements of Turner syndrome that I have run into the most is how little people know about it. And not just people in general, but even medical doctors. How little medical doctors know about it or know how to handle it or have any experience with it is a very specialized thing. It's also just not something talked about. So I've run into a lot of doctors that had to read up on it, that had to kind of re-familiarize themselves with it in order to be my doctor, in order to work with me, because I have it, so it's an element to my health. The other aspect of that whole thing is that there are gonna be times where you know how it's affecting you more than they do, where maybe they don't fully understand it enough to really do what you need, and you have to play your own advocate with that. If something isn't working for you, even if they know about it and they have experience with it, every case is different. So when it's not working for you and they're not listening to that, you really have to be your own advocate and make sure that you are getting your voice heard and that you can get the message across to them that, no, this isn't working. I don't like this and I don't think this is what is the right one for me. I've had to do that before. I've had to do that a couple times, and it's just really important. And every time that it's kind of fleshed itself out to getting the right solution, it has been for me playing advocate for myself, being able to keep my voice being heard and say, no, you know, I've given it time, this just doesn't feel right. And the biggest story I have of that is with my HRT. And I talked about a little bit of that in my HRT video, but it just, I got switched to a different generic one and it made me feel sick. It made me feel sick every time I took it, and that made me not want to take it. So it was even worse because it was like, okay, I know it's not good and I'll feel bad for not having the right level of hormones, but this makes my stomach hurt pretty bad when I take it, so that makes me not want to take it. Like, this is horrible. This is not fun. I had just switched doctors, so it was a doctor that I was telling her this upon meeting her the first time, and when she looked at it and she looked at what one I was on, she was like, you know, it's fine. She wasn't listening to me saying my stomach was hurting from it, it was making me feel sick. She kind of just brushed it off. And I said, okay. And I was just like, well, maybe if I just take it regularly, it'll be okay. But I did. I got really good for a little bit. It just made my stomach hurt every time I took it. And I would take it before bed and then go to bed feeling sick, like my stomach not feeling good. So then I went to a different doctor. I went to a gynecologist. It was just a normal checkup, but I mentioned that to her. I mentioned that, you know, I was on HRT because she could see in my file that I had Turner syndrome, that I was on HRT, and it always made my stomach hurt. And my other doctor said that that probably wasn't anything and that it was probably fine and she wanted to keep me on it. And then she looked it up and she said, oh my gosh, that is a really high level of estrogen. And if you have too high of a level of estrogen, that would be why your stomach hurt. She said if that happens when you take it with a drink, take it with food, and it still hurts your stomach, that is because of the estrogen level. And that is an indicator that the estrogen level is too high, and that is what's making your stomach hurt. So she said, I want to switch you to what I give my patients. It's a lower dose, and she said you could even go lower and still, she said you could even go lower than this and have you still be at the right level. So there's no worries, try this, and if that doesn't work, come back and we can try to figure out a slightly lower one that still works for you. So I switched. I went and got it that day, I tried it, and my stomach didn't hurt after I took it. It didn't make me feel sick, it didn't do anything but give me the right amount of hormones that I needed. And that was amazing to have that slight little change work. And I was so happy and proud of myself for really sticking with my voice and knowing my own body and experiencing what it was doing and saying, no, this doesn't feel right. It has never made me feel sick to my stomach to take my meds before. So that can apply to a lot of circumstances. That can apply when you feel like you need a certain test done. That can apply when they think you need this or they think something is this, and you're going, no, I know myself and I know Turner syndrome and I know how it's affecting me, and that just doesn't sound right. That doesn't feel right. And playing advocate for what you know you need, the treatment you feel best with. That can take some time. Not everything is a battle, and there are a lot of doctors that truly do know, and you can trust their word. And there will be circumstances where they know better than you, just because they've studied it. And not the doctor that I was talking about that brushed it off. She had very good intentions. She just, I don't think, had ever heard of it doing that. And that's just kind of learning things as you go. So she was not a bad doctor in any way. But I did end up very happy for getting that second opinion and getting switched to one that does not make me feel sick to my stomach. So that is just one example of a situation you're gonna need to play advocate for yourself with, and it can be a major element with Turner syndrome because each case is different. Most of the cases do not look exactly like the textbook case that doctors are given, and if they've never encountered a Turner syndrome patient before, they're not gonna know, and that's not their fault. We need Turner syndrome awareness. We need more people to understand this, especially the doctors, in order to really help those Turner syndrome women that are coming to them and saying, look, I have TS, I need help with this. To really understand it, they have to experience it, they have to hear about it, they have to see real life cases of what this disorder does. There's really only one way of doing that, and that's for you to really communicate well what's going on with you and how different treatments they're trying are affecting you. And that's important just to get your own correct treatment, because not every treatment is going to be the one that every Turner syndrome woman needs. So finding the one that actually works for you and your body specifically is important, and playing advocate for yourself is the best way to make sure that happens. Then you feel heard and you feel like you're really getting the treatment you need, and you feel comfortable with taking that advice and that treatment. So I thought I would talk about it because there have been a lot of stories I've heard with girls needing to play their own advocate pretty intensely, with doctors not fully knowing or understanding it. And because it's not a hugely common thing and it's so circumstantial, there's such a variety of how it affects us. There's just not enough understanding of the nuances, and there's not enough talk about it. So if you have some ways of playing advocate for yourself that you have tried, leave those in the comments. I hope this helped you in some way. I hope it was encouraging and gave you a little insight. If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up and share it with everybody. If you are not already subscribed, click the screen and subscribe, and then you can see when the next video comes out. And I will see you guys in that one. Bye!